Yadrichaya chopapanam Svagadvaram apavritam Sukhina kshatriya parta Labante yudamidrisham Yadrichaya, by its own accord. Cha, also. Upapanam, arrived at. Svarga, of the heavenly planets. Dvaram, door. Apavritam, wide open. Sukhina, very happy. Kshatriya, the members of the royal order. Partha, O son of Prita. Labante, do achieve. Yudam, war. Idrisham, like this. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. O Partha, happy are the Kshatriyas to whom such fighting opportunities come unsought, opening for them the doors of the heavenly planets. Please repeat. O Partha, happy are the Kshatriyas to whom such fighting opportunities come unsought, opening for them the doors of the heavenly planets. Purport. As Supreme Teacher of the world, Lord Krishna condemns the attitude of Arjuna, who said, I do not find any good in this fighting. It will cause perpetual habitation in hell. Such statements by Arjuna were due to ignorance only. He wanted to become non-violent in the discharge of his specific duty. For a Kshatriya to be on the battlefield and to become non-violent is the philosophy of fools. In the Parashara Smriti, or religious codes made by Parashara, the great sage and father of Vyasadeva, it is stated, Kshatriyo hi praja raksan shastra pani pradan dayan nirjitya para sanyadi kshitim dharmena palayet. The Kshatriya's duty is to protect the citizens from all kinds of difficulties, and for that reason he has to apply violence in suitable cases for law and order. Therefore he has to conquer the soldiers of inimical kings, and thus with religious principles he should rule over the world. Considering all aspects, Arjuna had no reason to refrain from fighting. If he should conquer his enemies, he would enjoy the kingdom, and if he should die in the battle, he would be elevated to the heavenly planets, whose doors were wide open for him. Fighting would be for his benefit in either case. Om Jnana Timirandasya Gnanandana Shlakaya Chakshur Anmilitam Yana Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So Krishna is telling Arjuna that he's a Kshatriya and he will be happy to fight, especially if a fighting opportunity comes of its own accord. Actually, when a saintly king becomes prominent, as was followed by King Yudhishthira, the Vedic system is that they send out a challenge horse to all the provinces, a challenge to all the rulers of the provinces that if they disagree with the emperor, then they can contest, and if they wish, they can fight. In that way, you end up with the most powerful emperor. So what is the need for kshatriyas in modern society? There's, ever since, especially the 60s, after the Vietnam War in America, so many young people, they could not justify war anymore. They were young. They hadn't experienced the First World War and the Second World War. After the First World War, the League of Nations was formed in order to stop any future wars. But it was only within 25 years of the League of Nations being formed, there was the Second World War. And after the Second World War, they formed what? 1945, they formed what? United Nations, yes. They formed the United Nations, which now has 193 member countries. And have they solved the war problem? Nothing. India has been at war with Pakistan now for, I think, 75 years over Kashmir. And that is ongoing. That dispute is not settled, despite League of Nations, United Nations, and everybody else who is concerned in that matter. So the young people are misguided and they think that war is, we can do without war. Well, we could do without war, that's a fact. But is war inevitable? Is war inevitable? Pardon? It depends on what? Circumstances. Right. But are there circumstances of the Kali Yuga, do they warrant war? Yes, there are so many reasons why there is war in the Kali Yuga. And the main reason we're all aware of, because Srila Prabhupada emphasized it so many times, what sinful activity is it that is the cause of warfare? This is the main emphasis of pious activities. This activity is included. Two main pious activities, especially of a kshatriya, is the protection of cows and Brahminical culture. Specifically, duty of a ruler is protection of cows and Brahminical culture. In the Kali Yuga, cows are being slaughtered mass. Innocent animals are being slaughtered as a reaction, because you cannot violate the laws of material nature. If you do, there's going to be punishment. So if you kill millions of animals unnecessarily for the satisfaction of the tongue, you're going to suffer reactions. Reaction is war. What other reasons for war? There are other reasons, apart from that cow killing. Because Kali Yuga is the age of quarrel and hypocrisy. When even non-natural dealings, two people cannot get on together. Even two people, husband and wife, brother and sister. What to speak of family and neighbor and society and nations cannot get on together. So just in ordinary dealings there is conflict. All through society, people are friends one day and they are hugging one day and mugging the next. And why is that? Because of this mind, the flickering mind. Because what is the activity of the mind? Acceptance and rejection. And to rise above this duality of the material mind is essential for peace of mind and Krishna consciousness. Because to remain consistent is very important, especially in friendships. If you want to maintain friendships, you have to be a friend today, you have to be a friend tomorrow, and you have to be a friend next week. It's not that you could be a friend one day and an enemy the next. But that is the natural inclination of the material mind. Sooner or later, what it accepts, it will reject. And you see it's prevalent in married life, especially people get married, and high percentage after a very short time reject, get divorced. That's an activity of the mind, and it's bound to happen on the material platform. Acceptance and rejection. So that's the ordinary dealings of the material world. And the other reason, of course, is that within every living entity there is the fighting spirit. Even within children you have the fighting spirit. They will fight 5 minutes and then they will be friends. Fighting spirit is there because in Krishna there is fighting spirit. In the Krishna book, the details of the Krishna book, Krishna spends more time killing the demons than he does protecting the devotees. Prabhupada says this. Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya chadushikram. That is the activities of Krishna, to protect the devotees and to kill the demons. That is also our duty as devotees in following Krishna's desire, is that we protect the innocent and we kill the demons. But is there any war in this age that is justified? Let's ask that. Is any war in this, because this is a big problem for many societies now. Is this war justified or that war justified? Is any war in the Kali Yuga justified? We had this war at the beginning, Battle of Kurukshetra, but what was the result of that battle? What happened to the participants in that battle? The ones that saw Krishna got their Swarup Siddhi. They got their original spiritual form if they died seeing Krishna. If they died on that battlefield not seeing Krishna, what happened to them? They went to the heavenly planets. That was Dharma Yuddha. That was religious, fighting for a good cause, which Prabhupada says is better than ahimsa, which is better than non-violence. To fight for a good cause is better than non-violence. It's correct, right? So that was the good result. So in this age, is there any conflict that we could say is Dharma Yuddha? What do you think? No. There is no conflict in this age that can be classified as being fought for religious principles. Because the world is being ruled now by hooligans and thugs and demons. So all these conflicts in the modern world, they are inevitable, just like a natural consequence. A material world is described as being samsara davanala. What does that mean? We sing it every day. Well, we do in most temples in the world. Samsara dava nalalidda loka. What does it mean? Huh? Blazing fire of material existence. The blazing fire of material existence. The analogy is like in the forest. It doesn't need anything to set a fire. Just by the friction of the bamboo there, fire will start. So in the Kali Yuga, just by natural dealings of people, these things will happen in flickering mind, accepting and rejecting. So we cannot avoid war. But no war is really justified. Are we justified? So Krishna's business is protecting and killing the demons. So are we justified in killing the demons in this age? I don't think we can do that, can we? Not in this age. Arjuna was ordered to do it, and he killed many people, thousands in Mahabharata. But for him it was good. It was a good cause, because for the Kshatriyas, we're hearing this verse, for them, happy are the Kshatriyas to whom such fighting opportunities come unsought. So a Kshatriya is happy when he gets an opportunity to fight. Just like King Parikshit, when he was ruler, at the beginning of the Kali Yuga, there were symptoms of Kali Yuga entering the world. And he was aware of these symptoms. He became aware of these symptoms. And what were those symptoms? The 4 pillars of irreligious life in this age of Kali, what are they? Right, you got it. The 4 principles that we follow. So he saw those principles of irreligiosity entering into his kingdom. And he knew that as a result of that, the God-given society, the Varnashram system, would be destroyed by it. So immediately he got on his chariot, drawn by black horses. He took cavalry, elephants, chariots, infantry, and a band, music, and he went out to find and to kill all the miscreants. That was, and he was happy to do that. Mixed feelings, because it was the age of Kali Yuga was beginning, and he was sorry, of course, that these sinful activities were entering into his kingdom, but he was very happy that he got a chance to fight, because he was a Kshatriya. So he went out, and of course we know eventually he conquered all the Varshas, the 7 Varshas of the material world. He conquered them all, and he also conquered over Kali personified, right, who was beating a bull and a cow, and he was vanquished. Kali was vanquished to those 4 places where those 4 activities were performed. But of course, in King Parikshit's kingdom, there was no place where those 4 illicit activities were being performed, but there was one exception. He gave him an exception because he said, please, there'll be nowhere for me to live if I'm banished to those places. So please give me somewhere. So what was King Parikshit's reply? What place could he go to? Yes, that's right. Good. Money, wherever there's gold, he could live where there is gold, because wherever gold is, then you will find the proliferation of these sinful activities. So that was King Parikshit. He wanted to go out, and it's described in the purport there that even in the Vedic culture, the fighting front was aesthetic. You can imagine all the infantry and the elephants and the king and all the chariots going out for warfare. But in the Vedic culture, even that was aesthetic, because it was done through religious principles. So in this age, there is no prescription for killing the sinful people, but we do kill them. How do we kill them? We kill their mentality by the chanting of Hare Krishna. We kill their demoniac mentality by the chanting of Hare Krishna. We kill their demoniac propensity by argument, shastric reference, and education. This is how we kill the demoniac tendency in the Kali Yuga. There is no prescription for getting out your knob carries and hashets and killing people, just like Arjuna had to. See, Arjuna had a problem. He lost sight of his duty. Krishna wanted this war, therefore it was Dharma Yuddha. It was religiously sanctified, whereas modern warfare is not sanctified. So Krishna condemned that attitude of Arjuna, calling it degrading impotence, to think like that, to think that it is better to go to the forest than to fight. But fighting on religious principles is the higher principle. Because in the Varnashram Dharma, you have Shudras, you have Vaishyas, you have Kshatriyas, and you have the Brahmanas. So in the Vedic system, the Brahmanas protect the Kshatriyas by, how do they protect them? No, the Brahmanas don't fight. How do the Brahmanas protect the Kshatriyas? Yes, thank you. By giving them good advice, by telling them how to behave, what to do. Kshatriya means, as we heard in the previous, Kshat means hurt, and Triyate means to protect from. So that is the main duty of a Kshatriya, is to protect the citizens from hurt. this is emphasized in the Leela of Kardama Muni, when Swayambhuva Manu, this duty of the Kshatriya is emphasized in that Leela because Swayambhuva Manu went out to meet Kardama Muni. He left his palace. What was the mission he was on? He actually wanted to find a husband for his daughter, Devahuti. Devahuti was a very beautiful lady. She was a yogini actually, with black eyes. She was so beautiful that one Gandharva saw her playing on the roof of the palace, and he fell out of his aeroplane. So Swayambhuva Manu, he left his palace, in which, in entering his palace, you were freed from the threefold miseries of material existence. Such was the atmosphere of his palace. But he went out to meet Kardama Muni to give him his daughter in marriage. And he went to the forest, to Rishikulas, where Kardama Muni was living, and found him. And they offered obeisances, mutual respects to each other. And the first thing that happened, of course, the king offered his obeisances, and the first thing that happened was that Kardama Muni gave him instructions. It was a meeting between a brahmana, a saintly person, and a rajarshi. So the brahmanas protect the kshatriyas. And what was the advice that he gave to Swayambhuva Manu, who was the ruler of the he was living in Brahmavarta, he was the ruler of the earth. He said, it is very good that you get on your jewel-studded chariot and go out, and people hear the twanging, the sound of your twanging bow, and that you roam around like the sun everywhere in your kingdom. And with your huge, he says, with your huge army. This is very good that you have this huge army by which, with the feet of which make the earth to tremble. This is very good that you do this, because by this all miscreants within society are curbed. They will be afraid. Because the example is, if you don't have a good ruler, there's an analogy given that it's like the ants that are caught on a burning log, a log that is burning at both ends. The ants are caught in the middle. And what are the two? The burning at one end is the tyranny of bad rulership, and on the other hand, it's what? What's the other threat? Regular citizens. What do we fear? In modern life, you can say the same thing. So on one hand, there's the government. No one trusts the government. What is the other fear?
Criminals?
Yes, of course. Criminals. On the other hand, you have the whole rogues and rascals who are waiting every city street corner. The other fear, someone's going to steal your wealth, attack you. Of course. The regular citizens, there's always problems. There are, in America or cities, probably every city where there are areas you don't go. You don't walk because it's too dangerous. The chances of getting mugged are very high, and not only in America, many places. Prabhupada said in Calcutta, even in Calcutta you can get attacked by gangs of youth who will threaten you with knives and steal whatever you have. So that is the position when you don't have good rulership, that the citizens suffer like that, like the ants on a burning log, a log that is burning on both ends. But King Parikshit was successful, of course, when he met Kali personified. What did he do? He didn't tie him up and say, look, we're going to take you to court and we're going to prosecute you. No, he didn't say that. He got out his sword immediately. It was going to kill him. There was no, trial, years of trial and appeals. No, nothing like that. Immediate justice, just like in the Wild West in America in the early days. If you were caught stealing, you could be hanging from the tree the same day. The modern justice system is, of course, it's a symptom of Kali Yuga, that there is no justice in Kali Yuga. and there are no leaders to administer any justice. So in the Vedic system, the Brahmanas protected the king by good advice, and the Kshatriyas protected the Brahmanas with their arms. They protected them. In that way, they protected each other. So that is the God-given society. So, as devotees, yes, our mission is to go out and kill the demoniac propensity of people by giving them Krishna consciousness, by telling them what is the truth. Because most people in the world, although their activities are demoniac, they are innocent. They're only demoniac because of propaganda. So much degrading propaganda, like so many things, political correctness and feminism and same-sex marriage, all those things. Regular people are very confused by those things, and they may tacitly support them because they have no better information. It seems logical, if you can marry a woman, why can't you marry a man? And if you can marry a man and a woman, why can't you marry a goat? Why can't you marry an animal? But you see, this degradation is taken to its conclusion now. The permissiveness that's been allowed children, what is happening to children now? They are causing parents all over the world headaches. All over the world they're causing them headaches because of this. They've been given this permissive, and now what are they doing? They're going in shootings in schools. The results of these things are horrendous. So innocent people, they can be affected by the propaganda of these things and still think it's good to give children a voice, to listen to the children. But what are you going to hear from a monkey? There is no difference between young children and animals. Just like there's no meaning to their fighting, there's no meaning to their happiness either, because they have no standard of happiness. A child has no standard of happiness. It's just innocent. It isn't. But of course, as soon as there's sensual development, then of course the natural propensities come out. As soon as the senses are developed, the mind is developed, then all the sinful desires that were within the heart become manifest. So that's the truth. It's not that children are innocent. They won't remain innocent unless they're given proper education. They won't remain innocent. Otherwise they will be influenced by the propaganda of society, just like so many innocent people. So our mission, of course, is to give them the truth and tell them the truth in whatever way we can. What is it? Yare Deka, Tare Krishna. Thank you. Whoever you meet, you explain about Krishna is God, and you explain what is the truth. In that way, we can serve Krishna's mission and attain the ideal of eternal happiness, which, of course, we all want. So, are there any questions, please? We can develop these themes. Do you have any questions? So I don't mind, we can wait. We can focus our minds and just think of something. We're discussing the symptoms of the Kali Yuga, our involvement in it. There is so much to learn, and the depth of our ignorance is sometimes quite profound. So there is actually so much to learn. But of course we will never learn unless our mind, we have the desire to learn, to know the truth. That desire has to be there, right? If we don't desire to know the truth, what is the alternative? We will be happy satisfying our senses. We will be happy in materialistic life trying to satisfy our senses. Karmasya nendriya pritiya. That's why sense gratification should never be the goal of our activities. But inquiring into the absolute truth should be the goal of our activities. So that tomorrow will be a better day. Tomorrow will be better informed than today. Tomorrow we will be that much nearer eternal perfection than today. But if we don't inquire, if we think we already know, then that of course is a big hindrance to acquiring knowledge. So that's all right. If you have no questions. Yes, Brahma?
As in this Kali-yuga, we see the Kali is how is entry. Even when we are in a good place also, in Sattva-guna also, but still the Kali...
In Sattva-guna?
Yeah, even we are in
No, not in Sattva-guna. Everybody was religious. Yeah, Paramahamsa level, Sattva-guna.
Now in Kali-yuga, if you are chanting Hare Krishna and you are associating with devotees, but still Kali is entering and giving disturbance to the devotees also.
Yes.
Why is giving disturbance to the devotees? Kali, why does it give disturbance?
Well, because you desire it. There's no other reason. Because if you desire Krishna, Krishna is stronger than Maya. Maya is on the backside of Krishna. So where there is light, there is no darkness. That's only because we desire it. We desire to enjoy the material world, so we cannot see Krishna. It's that simple. I mean, as soon as our desire is purified, we see Krishna.
Nobody will desire that you will get some problems or this thing. Nobody will desire that I should have some problems.
No, no one.
It comes because this Kali-yuga.
Ah, yes. Yes, problems come, suffering comes, although we don't desire it, because that is karma. But as initiated devotees, we are relieved of karma. Not completely, because analogy of a fan, turn off a fan, it still turns for some time because of the momentum. So in spiritual life we may be suffering some difficulties, but that's just the fan until the fan stops. Otherwise our karma is removed by formal initiation. Guru accepts your karma.
How long this fan is stopping? Because maybe you are 30 years.
Well,
40 years.
it could keep on turning for lifetimes. It's up to you. The process of anatta vritti can take a second, or it can take many lifetimes. That's according to your desire. And you'll ask, well, what changes our desire? And the answer to that is association. The only way you can change your desire is to change your association. If you keep associating with the same people and nothing happens, then you have to make a change. When you get initiated, it's not expected that you stay the same. Just like you know that we're hearing about the Brahminical, the fat Brahmana. You remember one feature of his existence is that the people didn't know, they couldn't recognize him. They didn't know what Varna and ashram he belonged to, whether he was the person that they knew before, because he was now spiritualized. He was Krishna conscious. They couldn't recognize him. So when you become purified, we don't use bad language. We don't think badly of people. We don't condemn material activities, or we don't praise them. We try to engage people in Krishna's service. That's all.
It's possible in this Kali-yuga also.
In Kali Yuga? Yes, of course. That's Prabhupada's mission. He gave us that opportunity. Jivan mukta sa uchyate. In this life we can become liberated. Why not? That's our faith. That's the definition of faith. If I follow the process properly, I'll get the result. So the question is, am I following the process? And that you can most quickly discover by a good association, because by good association you will see the example and you will also get the education. Especially in the Holy Dham, it's because everything here is magnified 100 times. That's Prabhupada's reference. In the Holy Dham, everything, all your pious activities here, you get 100 times benefit. Same all the sinful activities you engage in, you will get 100 times not benefit. But the potency is here. It is definitely here. Because everybody is interested in Krishna here. There's no... Everybody says Jai Radhe, Hare Krishna, everywhere you go. People are trying to be Krishna conscious. But the question is, are we following properly? That is the key question to get the result. Because what we give to people is also, it's not only philosophy, it's science. It's an exact process which should be followed very scientifically. It's just like if we want to learn how to hear properly, we know in the scriptures, if you want to hear properly, not just hear, there's hearing and hearing. Just like there's chanting and then there's quality chanting. There's different levels of chanting. There's offensive chanting, there's the clearing chanting, and then there's pure chanting. So not all chanting is the same. Not all hearing is the same. But to be intent on hearing, it's described, you've got to be, pure in activities. To hear nicely, you have to be pure in your activities. So if you're not pure in your activity, you can't expect to come and hear about Krishna and expect that those instructions are going to enter your heart and change your life. You have to be trying also to get rid of the 10 offenses. The namaparad, to know what they are, to get rid of those. And one of them at least covers almost anything, to disobey the orders of the spiritual master. That covers a lot of ground. And also, what is the 10 offense? To consider that chanting of Hare Krishna is the same as the ritualistic activities offered in the Vedas as karma kanda. That's another thing. To equate devotional service with so many pious activities of karma kanda. That is a mistake Indian people can make, where they also confuse the demigods with Krishna, equate the demigods with Krishna, which is of course very offensive, because the demigods are jivas. Krishna is Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. He's the original Godhead. He's the source of the demigods. So does anybody else think of a question, please? Sometimes the simplest questions are the most beneficial. You wouldn't think to ask them because I will sound so stupid, but frankly, we are stupid. I mean, I include myself in that. What do I know? I mean, I can prepare to speak, but what can I say when it comes to it? I can only say what Krishna allows me to say, and that will depend upon my level of purity. I could speak to you all kinds of nonsense. Maybe I have. But an attentive audience would know that, because you're also very important. It's a reciprocal thing. It's not just that the speaker speaks. But the hearer also the speaker has a responsibility to make sure that the hearers have understood what he said. That is education. Otherwise, what is the point? We will keep doing this thing day after day after day after day, and nothing will happen. But it's nice that if we come back tomorrow more enthusiastic than we were today, and we have some questions, something you really want to know. But if you don't have the desire to know the truth or to be purified, then it won't happen. Who is happy with the knowledge they've acquired? Anybody? Happy? Do you think you have enough? You're happy?
Yes. Yeah, all I have for this class is happy to the class.
Are you happy with what the knowledge that you have? Not what you hear, but what you think you have understood. No. What is that verse in the Bhagavad-Gita? A person is happy by acquired knowledge, realization. What is that verse? I can't remember. It's quite important. No, I can't. Slipped my mind. We should be happy by the knowledge that we receive, because Krishna says in the 15th chapter, isn't it, that in course of time we will enjoy this knowledge within ourselves. So this knowledge is a sort of happiness. Truth is freedom. When we can see through the Shastra, then we are happy. I make this point a lot. If you are in ignorance, it's very hard to be happy, because everything is problematic. You don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. You don't know why this person is acting the way they're behaving. You don't know why I'm behaving the way I'm behaving. As I give the example, if you have an illness, it could be very problematic because it may be terminal. You don't know. Especially as you get older, a little pain in the back, you think, oh gosh, my kidneys are going or something. It could be really serious. Or prostrate. The doctors are always warning us now you should get prostrate cancer, check for that, all these things. They're sources of anxiety if you don't know. But once you know what you're suffering from, then it's not such a serious thing. At least you know how to deal with it. It's a relief almost. Even if it's fatal, it's a relief because now you know. The devotees now are suffering with terminal diseases, but they know what's happening. They can control it. And if they have to leave their bodies, then they won't mind either. Because if we've acted in good faith, we will be going back to Godhead. We will not be born again. Imagine being born again. Remember when we were children, when we knew nothing. We didn't know why people were going about doing what they do. We knew nothing. We were children. And we had to learn so much. When you died, then you have to go through the whole thing again. The advantage of devotional service is, of course, that you'll be able to pick up somehow with the Svapam Apyasya Dharmasya, you'll be able to pick up on the devotional service that you did in a previous life. That is the advantage, that whatever you're doing in devotional service, the benefits are not lost. So there is that chance. But if you're, say, reborn in a rich family, you may squander that chance. You don't know for how many births it will take to reclaim your, like Dhritarashtra, he was liberated by Vidura, by pragya, by introspective knowledge. He understood the falsity of his position, living in the palace at the mercy of King Yudhishthira, right? He tried to kill him, and then he was living, and they were treating him as king. So he heard from Vidura, but he couldn't be ultimately liberated because he caused so many offenses. So Prabhupada says he had to experience many lifetimes of liberated state before he could attain the ultimate perfection of devotional service, go back to Godhead. So it's a very risky proposition to think that we might be born again. We want to be sure that in this life we're going back to Godhead. And the ultimate test of that, of course, is whether we're Krishna conscious. Not momentarily, but permanently. Permanently. 24 hours a day. Krishna conscious. That means aware that the activities we're performing are for Krishna's pleasure, not for our pleasure. Is there a question? We have 5 minutes. Yes, Brahma.
You just said, by listening, that once the person knows that he has some terminal illness, he kind of takes it a little more seriously. So we all know that we are suffering from miseries of life. Sometimes we don't take our devotional service as seriously. Even though we know that these 4 problems are old age disease, these are there, but the seriousness is not there even though we know. The atheists, they don't know, they don't take it seriously. We know, sometimes we don't take it seriously.
Yes.
But we have an illness like cancer, then we take it seriously. But why not the other one? They're both real. Cancer is a little bit faster, but the other one is also there. Why don't we take that seriously?
Well, we don't take birth and death seriously because we're not self-realized. We still think we're this material body and we're going to enjoying in the material world. As soon as you realize there's no material happiness, then you become a thinker, right? Then you try and solve, well, what is the truth? But we know the truth, that we're not this material body. We don't belong in this material world, and temporary things cannot give us happiness. So if you don't accept that seriously, oh yes, what is it? Vyavasa yatmaka buddhir, those whose intelligence is many-branched, cannot be resolute in devotional service. That means if you have interests, you have political interests, you have health interests, you have sex interests, you have so many interests, diet interests, so many interests, then it's very difficult to become Krishna conscious. We have to minimize our material necessities. Then you can concentrate on Krishna consciousness. When you're running around trying to satisfy the tongue, like meditating half the day on buying sweets, which sweets to buy in the sweet shop, it's going to be very difficult to be Krishna conscious. I mean, what to speak of the other attractions like music and theatre, entertainment. I mean, so many diversionary interests. Even, and I should mention this, even going on pilgrimage. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur said, I think it was him, that going on pilgrimage can be a distraction. Because wherever you live, if you're performing Krishna conscious, you're Krishna conscious, then that is Vrindavan. So even going out, visiting all these holy places can be a distraction. It doesn't have to be. It can be a real, I mean. I was asked at school a couple of days ago, where is the spiritual world? And I missed that point. We're living in the spiritual world now. We're actually in the spiritual world, but we don't see it. That's our problem. Because somehow Maya is still covering us. Isn't it? Yes. That Maya Jivanika, that curtain of Maya is still covering us. So we can't see the holy Dham. We're still falling asleep during class and kirtan. Hard to keep awake in the mornings and then fill the day with activities. What to do today, what to do tomorrow. Yet we're in the spiritual world. Unlimited happiness. But we're maybe not quite getting the point or seeing the real thing, because we still have those anarthas within the heart. Jai. Thank you. All glory to Srila Prabhupada.